The Frankfort Plant Board meeting on Tuesday, November 19th, 2024 at 5 o'clock. We're in the community room at the FPB Administration Building. With that, Madam Secretary, would you call the roll?
Here.
Here.
Member Mason.
Arriving within minutes.
Member Snyder.
Here.
Member Deb Mitchell.
Here.
We have a quorum to do business. First item of business is consider approval of the minutes for October 15, 2024. Everybody should have those in front of them. Does anybody have any changes or corrections? If not, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are adopted. Next item, consider approval of minutes, the October 23rd special board meeting. Again, everybody should have those in front of them. Any changes, corrections? If not, do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Minutes are approved. Next item, financials. You were ready, weren't you? Okay.
Good evening, everyone. The financial report starts on page 23 of the board package if you want to turn to follow along. The first page is the statement of net position. Not a whole lot changed from last month. The total assets on line 75 we're at 241 million this year compared to 233 million last year. That biggest difference is on line 45, which is our property, plant, and equipment. You all know we've been investing heavily in our capital infrastructure. There is one change on the liability section. Line 120, you'll see the new next band lease payable. That's a new line for this month. And all that's there right now is the some bond council money where we were required to draw some down, so we drew down 63,000 and paid that. And our first interest payment is due 12/1, so we're getting in the swing of that new loan. Total liabilities on line 155 is 101, just over 101 million compared to 106 million last year. So we've gone down by about 4.7, and most of that is in the KPPA liability.
And good news today, maybe. The Pension Oversight Board met, and CERS is recommending another drop in the CERS rate for next year.
Awesome.
Down to 18.62, I think, from
It's like
19.71 or something, yeah.
1971 right
Yeah.
now, so good.
So where are you gonna spend that?
I'm sure you all will find lots of places to spend it. If you flip over to page 25 of your board package, that's the bonds and leases payable schedule, and I just wanted to point out that you'll again see that new next band lease there. It is on this little chart, but it's so small that it's like that little bitty yellow line at the very bottom, but we'll see that grow as the construction continues. Let's see, if you flip over to page 31, actually 32, it's actually, I'm wrong again. That's the electric one. Let's go back to the company-wide. 28, page 28 is basically our income statement. In the government world, it's called the company-wide statement of revenues, expenses, and changes in net position. The third column of numbers over is our year-to-date actual, and if we compare that to the fourth column, which is our year-to-date budget, revenues are slightly up, about a little over 1 million. Operating expenses are down by 1.4 million. So down at the very bottom, line 320, we're up 6.7 this year compared to 2.5 for budget.
Is that mainly in the personnel areas?
It is, yeah. If you look in the admin expenses on line 260, you're down 1.65 million there, and about 1.3 of that is then benefits and payroll. It's a lot of it. I started looking at it just to dig it in a little bit further, and most of it's just unfilled positions.
Right.
Pages 35 through 46 have the individual admin department statements, which if y'all have any questions, I'll be happy to try to answer those. Pages 48 through 50 is your cash activity reports. Pages 51 through 102 shows the O&M details, so every check we've written this month out of our O&M account. And then pages 103 to 106 is our impress, so every check we've written out of our impress account for the month. So, any questions?
Any questions for Katrina? Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Financials are adopted. Thank you. Next item is public comment. Ms. Poe, we have a person here to speak.
We did have one person come in, Mr. Stephen Garrett. Would you want to come forward, please?
You want to stand up and nod so people can hear you, please?
I'll try to be.
How you doing, sir? Welcome.
How you doing? I'll try to be quick.
Sure.
My name is Stephen Parrott. I've lived here. I'm originally from Harlan County. I moved up here about 7 or 8 years ago. I found a good home, and I purchased it and bought it. And I live just like 5 minutes down the street.
Uh-huh.
And I came here to ask you guys about 2 weeks ago. You guys came and cut a part of my tree down in my yard.
For electric or
For
cable?
elec- for the-
Oh, the tree trimmers?
Yes.
The white trucks, the right tree service?
Yeah,
Okay.
it was right. And the way that they cut it down, you're gonna have to come back a couple years and cut it again
Okay.
because it's gonna be in the lines. I just came here to ask you guys if you guys might want to maybe go ahead and just cut it down for me if you could. That way it'll be out of your way. You'll never have to deal with it again because the way they cut it, it's kind of like in an L shape
Okay.
and it's like
Because
leaning.
usually when we cut just to clear the utility lines so that in a storm or whatever, the limbs won't fall on a line and knock the line down.
Yeah.
And that's how we normally trim them. But I tell you what, Travis, when you say, take as long as you want to say, whatever. But when you leave up there, Travis is in charge of electrical,
Okay.
and that would be the electrical lines. And Right Tree works with him, and let him get your address and information, and then we'll get somebody out there to take a look and see if there's anything we do to help you and
Okay,
resolve that
'cause-
for you.
Like it's in an L shape.
Sure.
And it's going up, and I don't think it wouldn't take much more to cut it back down.
Okay. Well,
It's leaning on my house, and I'm just, and like I said, I don't care about the tree. If you guys want to cut it down, if you guys can just lay it down on the ground,
Okay.
lay everything down, I'll take care of the rest.
okay. Well,
Or,
rather than talk to us, you need to talk to the person who can do something for you.
I did. I
That'd
tried
be
to
Travis.
contact him. I tried to contact.
Yeah. Well,
Was it Alex, or is it someone else named Alex?
that may be true, but the Right Tree, we have a contract with
Yeah,
them.
that's who was out there. I
Yeah,
tried
and
to
that's
get him to.
they're our contractor, and their goal, and they trim. You've seen it all year round.
Yeah.
So that when we have storms, we have fewer outages. But certainly, if we've been out there and there's a problem, we'll certainly take a look. And I don't want to promise what we can do or not do. But if you let Travis know your address,
Okay.
and then we'll get somebody out there and take a look, see if we can't help you.
Yeah, I'd appreciate it if
Sure.
you could help me out on that.
Okay. Well, I
Like I
appreciate you
said,
coming.
if it grows, the tree goes pretty quick because y'all done cut. Since I've lived there, y'all have cut it down
Is that right?
Y'all trimmed it like 3 times, and if you guys want to just go ahead and cut it down for me, and you don't have to deal with it no more.
Okay.
And I would be happy with that, and fine.
Well, we'll sure take a look at it for you, sir.
Okay,
Thank you.
thank you. Y'all
Thank
have
you
a
for
good day.
coming. Anyone else, Kathy, signed up? Okay. Departmental reports, Gary?
Yes, the first is public information. Cassie,
Hello. I have a couple of things to report, just things that we have completed since last we met. We did get through election season. We had a really great live election return show as usual. I'd like to thank all the crew at Cable 10.
It was a fabulous show. I watched it. It was great.
It was fabulous.
Yes.
Would like to thank JC Young for co-hosting
Yes.
with me. He always does a great job, and he knows all the stuff. And like to thank our county clerk, Jeff Hancock, and all of his staff for hosting us there again. We like to be able to set up in his office because that's where it's all happening. So we also had a presence at Candlelight on opening night, which is a big night, and they do the tree lighting that night. So we set up, we handed out popcorn, light bulbs, our swag bags had all kinds of stuff. We gave out over 400 swag bags, and people, they know to come and they know what they're getting. And they have always been really nice about having nice things to say about the plant board. We like to get out and talk to our customers and also be available if they have any questions. So then we have a big event coming up on Thursday. We like to invite everybody to come. We're having our ribbon cutting for the reservoir and open house for the clubhouse that we have just finished renovations on. We're going to be opening it up to the public for rentals. This is something that we had done many years in the past and had to close it down for while we were doing construction on the reservoir, but we're all back up and running now. I know this is it's a sentimental spot for a lot of people in our community. So we'd like to invite everybody to come out Thursday from 4:30 to 6. We'll have a short program at 5 with some speakers.
And Steve and Catherine are speaking, right?
Yeah, they
I'm
are.
serious.
I don't know if they know
No,
it
yeah.
yet, but that's the plan.
Yes.
So,
Can we all come without a
Yeah, because
quorum?
Pants is gonna notice it.
Yeah.
So that
Okay.
if there's more than two of us, it'd be okay.
It's gonna be a party.
Yes.
A noticed party, a special meeting. We invite the entire community to come out and join us just to check out the clubhouse and the reservoir. We spent a lot of years working on that reservoir and we're pretty proud of it. So we'd like to have folks come out and check it all out. So that is happening Thursday, the 21st, 4:30 to 6. And then just to let you know, we'll also be covering the Christmas parade this year. That's December 7th. We're partnering with the radio station here in town. We'll be broadcasting on Cable 10 and on the radio and calling it. They're going to do it a little different this year. They're not going to do it up around the Capitol because of the bridge situation.
Yeah.
Can't go over the bridge, so they can't close the bridge.
Yeah.
So they'll keep it all downtown
Okay.
this year. I'd like to again thank Cable 10. But with all of this extra stuff going on, they've still been covering the football. The Franklin County's in the playoffs now, so the game of the week Friday is Bardstown will be at Franklin County, and if Franklin County wins, then Cable 10 will be there again next week. So if you can't make it out to Benny Watkins Field, you can check it out on Cable 10.
Or if you live in Indian Hills, you can live it. Every touchdown,
There you
it's
go.
a fireworks show. Yes.
So again, can't say enough about Cable 10. I'd like
Yes.
to thank Leanne and all of her staff and support services for getting things ready at the clubhouse. We look forward to seeing everybody there Thursday night.
And I do want to compliment you seriously on the election coverage, because now I'm going to say this. Snyder will say something, but I've got friends in other counties. I know that's going to shock you, but they'll call like on election night and say what's going on, and I'll say we broadcast live. We're done in Franklin County.
Yeah.
It's over, and they're calling their clerk's office. They can't get results, and you all called it, shown the results, signed off.
That's right.
Yeah.
We were done by a little after 8.
Yeah, it is. You all do an amazing job.
And we'd had interviews. We had all the candidates come in and
Yeah.
say their thanks, and I love that they do that.
Mm-hmm.
And again, it's a great service that I believe that we offer this community, and it's one of our most watched shows on
Yeah.
Cable 10, and we plan to continue to do
Yeah,
it.
y'all did a great job.
Thank you.
And Chairman, next is a NOC, Network Operating System.
Good evening. Your NOC report's on page 107. Nothing groundbreaking to report in the NOC department, just business as usual. It looks like in October we entered 585 trouble calls, took 2,831 phone calls, and on the locate side of the house they did 768 locates, so the numbers back up just a bit. I guess that maybe that final push before winter, I'm not sure, just a lot of stuff always going on. But for the most part, that's it. Like I said, business as usual, unless you have any questions for me that I can answer.
No, but
No.
nice pun.
I'm
Nothing
sorry.
groundbreaking.
Keep it that way.
Thank you, sir.
Chairman, next is a customer service.
Good evening. You can find the customer service reports, page 109 to 113. Kind of to follow up, like Darren said, there's really not a whole lot that outside of the business as usual. We assisted 8,169 customers last month, which was a couple hundred short than what we were the month before. So we average anywhere from 8,000 to 10,000. So we're kind of on the lower end this month. We added 149 new accounts, and we got our tier 1 wait times were under 2 minutes. Tier 2 and tier 3 were above the 2-minute mark, but those are usually a little bit more because they are more detailed service and billing questions. So.
How's the kiosk doing?
So last month, we were up about 100 from last month, so we continue to see growth every month. We still have customers that are coming in, and the CSRs assist them for the first time, but yeah, we're definitely seeing more movement on that. So,
Any questions?
do you have
for-
any answer your question?
Thank
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, next is the telecommunication.
Good evening, everybody. Filling in for Adam tonight. Telecom report starts on page 115. As for outages, we had a couple of outages this past month, one of which was a power supply failure down around South Frankfurt. We also had a CMTS card failure in the head end that also affected some South Frankfurt residences. Otherwise, it was a pretty quiet month. Trouble call volume was elevated compared to last year's numbers, with most of them looking like they were in the customer education department. And as far as customer penetrations, looks like we're nearing the 4,500 mark for next man service, and we're tracking online with estimated fiscal year budget for internet customers. So, if there's any other questions,
How are we doing on easements?
how we doing on these? We have the information right here. Looks like we've secured around 250 easements, which leaves us about 370-ish to go.
Well, Gary and I knocked out 2 on Sunday for you.
We're taking all the help we can get, so that's, yeah.
Yeah, we were strong. We were strong.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions? Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next is electric department.
Good evening, everyone. The electric report starts on page 119, goes to 121. On page 119, you'll see our SAIDI numbers for the month. It was 41.307. On page 120, you're going to see the pie chart, which has the percentages of each type of outage. Page 121 will take those percentages and give you an actual count number. We had a total of 31 outages for the month. And then, I did not print the last page. Oh my. So there was a total of there's a total of 31 outages. Page 122, sorry, there's a total of 158 customers affected by 31 outages. Sorry about that.
That's okay.
Me and a printer do not work together.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Good evening, everyone. The SEPA report for this month begins on page 123 of your board package. For the month of September, our total SEPA bill was $82,203. Our net payment was $179,199 for a profit to the board of $96,996. And you can see on page 125 that brings us through September of 2024 a net benefit of $1,017,371. One other SEPA item to note under the, actually we have a couple SEPA items. One of them's an action item, so we can come back to it. But we did receive notice of a transmission rate change from SEPA. So they get notice from the TVA that the rates increase. SEPA passes that on to the customers. Kind of, not a lot really either party could do about it. It's a minimal increase, about $90-ish a month.
Okay.
That bill will go up in transmission charges. There are other rate increases down the road that, again, under that action item we can get to. And for AMI, we are at 20,630 installs for electric, 14,145 for water.
How much for, how many for water?
14,145 water. We are getting close. Happy to answer any questions.
But
on
sure,
that.
Miss is working on some more business for you.
Yeah, we may not be that close on
Yeah,
that.
that's
We shall see. Which would be a good thing.
Yes.
Yep.
With AMI, where's the progress on that? We were trying to develop an app for AMI users and stuff. Have we gotten any headway on that? Or
Yeah, I know. So there have been a lot of portal improvements that have integrated the AMI data. As far as the actual app release, I think Ryan can probably speak to that better than I can. So I know a lot of the data has been built into the portal, like if you're using just a regular web version. But that app release, I defer to IT. I'm not exactly sure. Yeah,
may want to have them come talk next month about that, Gary, if that's okay.
Yeah, I will say, John, I went on about a month ago, 2 months ago, and went to my portal, and it was amazing how much information.
Yeah, I know.
like right
I
there.
know. I've done it. I've done it as well because I always pay my bill online anyway.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Get a stamp on it, buddy. Any other questions for Travis?
60 years old. Good.
Thank you, sir.
Well, next is QME report. I really don't have anything new. If particularly you have any question, I will happy to answer.
Any questions for Gary on?
Okay.
Next.
So the safety. Tell us.
Good evening. For the month of October, we have one OSHA recordable. It was a water distribution employee walking down a hill, slipped, and hurt their knee, so was placed on restricted duty. That makes it recordable. So we have no vehicle accidents for the month.
How's the employee doing? Doing okay?
Oh, he's doing good. He was back to work.
Okay.
Full duty 3 days.
Okay.
Just needed some rest on it.
Yeah.
Take it easy. We do have the final walkthrough tomorrow with the fire marshal at the clubhouse, so he signs off on that. We had to fix a few items from last week, so everything should be good at the removal.
Okay.
That's all I got.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Next is water distribution.
Good evening, everybody. So pages 131, 132, 133 will cover the 8 new water services that were installed in October. It shows we had 3 water main breaks. Those 3 water main breaks, it led to 2 water outages for their proper repair. A few other things to touch base on: changed out 310 water meters. We did dead end flushing of approximately 135,000 gallons for water quality. And last couple weeks, couple big items, we completely finalized Payne Street all the way from the install of the pipe, concrete, seed, straw. So that loop we put in, kind of the emergency job we did, it's completely done. So that's good. And then just this week we got finalized the big leak from August we're all familiar with.
Right. Yes.
Contractors, our 24-inch valve finally came in, so we waited on the contractors, scheduled them. They come back, reinserted the line stop. Then the guys worked hard, got the 24-inch valve put in, got the lines tied back together, and then the guys actually just came back and got the line stop pulled. So only thing left over there to do is going to be cleanup. Battling some weather right now might make that a little bit of a time frame, but main thing is everything's back running like it's supposed to be.
Yeah, it was a pretty good size leak, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Anxious to see what that final number is in gallons after all the flushing.
No,
and
you're not. No, you really
everything.
don't.
Well, yes and no, right?
Yeah.
For sure. But yeah, that's pretty much kind of sums it up for us in the last month and a half.
Any questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next is the water treatment.
Good evening, everyone. For the month of October, the water treatment plant treated 251,795,000 gallons of water for an average of 8.12 million gallons a day. Lock 4 averaged 1,711 cubic feet per second for an average of 1.1 billion gallons of water, and there was a whopping 0.3 of an inch rainfall this past month. Happy to take any questions.
Any questions? Thank you, sir.
Good evening. I'd like to give an update on the service line inventory. So as you know, the EPA issued the lead and copper rule revisions with the ultimate goal to remove all lead from all water distribution systems across the nation, both on the utility side and the customer side. So the first big step of the rule revision was to submit a service line inventory by October 16th of this year, which we have submitted. And then the follow-up step after we submitted the inventory to the Division of Water was to notify all the customers that have either an unknown service line or a line made out of galvanized metal. So we sent copies of these postcards out. Basically, pretty much probably over 12,000 customers received one that said they had an unknown service line, and we've had a lot of feedback so far. A lot of customers are responding. We're getting a lot of phone calls in. We have an online portal that there's a QR code on the back of the postcard that they can scan that takes you directly to the portal so that you can enter your service line material. So we appreciate those customers that are calling in and that are interested. And for those that aren't comfortable going and taking their picture, they're calling us and asking them what they can do, how they can assist us, or we're going to, and as we can, we'll go out and assist customers as well.
So then, whenever happens here, then will you update that October 16th report?
Yeah, so it's the Division of Water requires an annual submittal, so we'll submit it annually. So about this time next year, by October of next year, we'll continue to submit that. And we'll also notify customers. We'll continue the notification of customers as well that they have an unknown service line. I'm happy to answer any questions.
Any questions for?
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else, Gary?
No.
Okay. Item 5.1, consider ratifying changes to the clubhouse rental agreement. I think everybody's seen those, and there was some just minor revisions to what we approved before, so.
Okay. Good evening.
How you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
Okay.
I'm glad to say that the clubhouse is
It's
pretty
done.
much completed. So,
Now you can start on Myrtle, right?
I think Travis is doing that.
You thought
Yeah. Staff requests the approval of the following changes to the clubhouse rental agreement. The renter may not sublet or assign reservations to another party, and the renting party must be on site at all times. No drugs of any kind are allowed in the facility or on the grounds, and renters and all guests must adhere to all laws and city ordinances pertaining to drugs and alcohol. Replacing language of should the renter fail to pay for the damage cost, civil or criminal action will be taken, and replaced with should the renter fail to pay for the damage cost, appropriate legal action will be taken. No decorations are permitted on the TV or sound bar. And then we also added that a 65-inch TV and a sound bar are included with the rental. And renters are prohibited from covering up or blocking fire exits, extinguishers, and pool stations. And then we removed the section that reserved the right to determine the need for on-site security.
Does anybody have any other changes, corrections, or anything they want to add, delete on the rental agreement? If not, do we have a motion to adopt the rental agreement as modified?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Adopted.
All right, thank you.
Thank you. And you and Travis work that out?
I'll help them out.
You'll help you?
John, I want to publicly recognize when I was wrong. We were looking at the window treatment, and I went out there today and looked at it, and Catherine and Leanne were right.
Okay.
Remember, I wanted blinds.
Yeah.
It doesn't look good.
No.
It wouldn't look good.
Could you repeat that? 'Cause I want to hear the
And Catherine's asked that you speak that also on
Yeah.
Thursday during your remarks about how she was right and you were wrong.
Well, they'll be able to see it.
Hey, John, Kathy put it in the official record.
There you get it.
The meeting notes.
Yeah.
So we're good.
Item 5.2, consider approval of SEPA long-term MOA sub-agreement number 13. And let me just add the caveat here. It really doesn't matter how we vote on this, they're going to do it. So, it's the agreement is part of it, and we're part of it, so.
I think you said it all right there.
Yes.
Yeah, so this is a part of the long-term memorandum of agreement between SEPA, the Army Corps of Engineers, and the project stakeholders. So that original MOA was executed in 2011. So every couple of years, they have these sub-agreements that come forward that identify individual project needs and individual project budget. Excuse me. So this one is sub-agreement number 13. There's 7 work items as part of this sub-agreement for a total cost of $25 million. Now again, we don't pay them directly that $25 million, but it does have a downstream impact on the rate we pay SEPA, and I'll come back to that. So again, there will be more of these kind of as they continue this massive rehabilitation project. Most of the hydro plants that are part of SEPA are 45 to 75 years old, so it was either, you know, take these projects on or cease to be, really. That was kind of the point they had reached. So SEPA's been a good investment, especially here recently with the, you know, the variability in power supply costs. It's really served the board well. To the point earlier, on page, let me see what page it is in the board package. It's page number 10 of that sub-agreement. So SEPA provided an estimate on the impacts of rates. I will point to, there's a row there, April 1st increase to capacity charge. So beginning in 2025, it's $0.021 per kW per month, which for our capacity is about $330. The April 1st increase to the energy charge is 0.091 mils per kWh. So the actual amount of kWh we receive from SEPA varies month to month, but if you take kind of an average month, that's going to be about another $200 and $300-ish per month. We can expect that increase again. That's April of 2025. That's pretty minor, of course, in terms of the total benefit we receive from SEPA. But if you look forward to 2031, those rate increases start to become pretty significant. The capacity charge, again, this is just an estimate, so you know, we're looking 7 years into the future. But the capacity charge, the expected cumulative increase is $1.746 per kW per month. We've got about 15,000 kW of SEPA capacity, so you know, we're by year 6, 7 in that $20,000 to $30,000 difference on our bill. Same for the energy charge increase. You know, next year we're at 0.091 mils per kWh. Looking forward to 2031, that goes up to 7.566. So again, that's going to be about another $20,000 increase if you take an average month. So again, they're estimating 7 years forward. You know, will that actually come to be? You know, hard to say. Again, SEPA has been a good investment. To your earlier point, they're going to do the project, so probably not worth a lot of
we lose
handling.
all the energy. So I mean, it's
It's like I said, they're to the point they have to do it, or they're not going to produce power. I mean, that's kind of the state of affairs they were in. So yeah, looking forward going forward on out to that 6-7 year mark, our bill is probably going to be significantly higher. Short-term impact, not very much at all. You know, a few hundred, maybe $500 a month. We can expect that benefit. So again, all that being said, staff recommends approval of long-term MOA sub-agreement number 13 with SEPA.
Any questions for Travis? Do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's approved. Travis, item 5.3, approval of vendor contract with Solar Energy Solutions for ground-mounted solar array.
Yes, sir. So this is related to, we have 2 outstanding REAP grants with the USDA. This would be REAP grant number 1. So on our property here down the hill, kind of that first portion of the property. That grant has been submitted to the USDA. We did issue an RFP for this. That was awarded in February. So the vendor award was in February to Solar Energy Solutions. We're getting to the point now we think we're ready to say go on everything. So we need to finalize all the contract terms. Nothing in the contract is substantially different than what was proposed by them in February and awarded at that regular February meeting. It's a 1.17 megawatt array, ground mounted with a single axis tracker. Again, technical solution still very much the same, just formalizing the agreement terms, if you will. I'll briefly hit on some of the exhibits. This was last minute, hot off the press. That's why you have a paper copy in front of you. But coming into year, we want to kind of keep our foot on the gas and not, you know, lose any time. So try to get everything in under the gun for the end of the year if we can. Exhibit A was the RFP and attachments, no changes there. Exhibit B is the warranties. We included the modules, the inverters, and the trackers. Pretty standard stuff there. The project schedule is included in Exhibit C, so they provided just a simple Gantt chart there that's, you know, if we're keeping the pace, we're going to start, you know, in earnest early next year and hopefully be in operation well before end of next year. So that's the plan as of right now. Exhibit D is a pricing schedule. Again, essentially it's a $2 million project. That's kind of the way what we've intended since the beginning. The specifications and requirements, data sheets, single line diagram, kind of standard stuff. Again, nothing changed there from the original proposal. The notice of funding and of award and funding requirements, and Exhibit G, the contractor certifications. Those are documents we received from the USDA, so we wanted to memorialize those in the contract. Most of that will be on the contractor to fill out. Statements on liens, releases. At the end of the project, they'll have to certify it's complete and ready to go. Exhibit H, there's not an Exhibit H as of yet. So our plan was, if the board approves tonight, we would send everything to the USDA, ask for their concurrence that everything necessary is included, then we would include that as Exhibit H. So that's not currently there, but that is the intent. My thinking is, and you can redirect me, of course, if needed, if we approve the contract, we'll send everything to USDA. If they sign off, then we'll issue notice to proceed, contingent upon that. Exhibit I and J, those are kind of standard, your drug testing and safety program certifications. So all those documents, again, same technical solution with one possible caveat there I want to discuss next. So we've been talking with Solar Energy Solutions quite a bit about, of course, finalizing all the contract documents, trying to get ready to go first of the year. And they brought up the domestic content option. So when they originally proposed the project, they did not include a solution that would meet the domestic content requirements under the Inflation Reduction Act. So if you remember way back when we were talking solar tax policy, domestic content is a 10% bonus.
Mm-hmm. Is it on the, and you had mentioned, is that on the entire project or just on the panels?
My understanding, Jason, tell me if I'm wrong, is that's the entire project. That's the way we've understood it. It's 10% on the total project cost, and the grant does not change the tax basis. That's my understanding of it. So that would put us, you get 30% for wage requirements, 10% being an energy community, which we, as we understand it, we are. When we applied for our return on this first phase, we included that 10% energy community. And if we want to go for the extra 10% domestic content option, they have provided that option for us in this spreadsheet I've handed out here. So that middle column is, again, that's the base proposal. That's the one they submitted that we used to apply with the USDA. It's a $1.999 million project. The grant funding would be half the $1 million. The ITC benefit, okay, so we're not getting the domestic content bonus. For projects that go in service in 2025, if you don't meet domestic content, you get a 10% haircut, essentially. Okay. So we would be at 40%, but where we don't meet domestic content, we lose 10% of that 40. So that's where I came up with the 36%. Okay. Would have been 40, take that 10% haircut. Okay. Cost set for the return, $279,997. Production for both projects would be very similar. There is a little bit of, you lose a little efficiency on the American-made panels. They're a little different material. They make those solar modules, but essentially it would be the same output. So again, simple payback, kind of a no-brainer for both. I'd kind of been operating under the thought, you know, we're so close, let's not change anything, let's just stick with what we know.
Are
But
the quality of the panels the same? I mean, you got some difference on production, but I mean, in terms of warranties, dependability, and I mean, is there even enough? Is there enough track record out there to even know if they're the same quality?
They should be equivalent. But.
Yeah.
Yeah, they should be equivalent. The warranty is good. It's pretty standard, 30-year performance warranty. That's not a true 30-year warranty, but it's a 30-year performance warranty is pretty good in the industry. I mean, you may see 25 for some, but they guarantee the output of the modules for that 30 years. Of course, there's some degradation, so it declines. It is newer, but it is an American-made product.
Are they available?
I understand they are available, and that was part of the reason they didn't include it in the base proposal, is because it was somewhat newer back in February, but you know, now we're 9 months forward. So First Solar, who is, the way I understand it, is the only vendor that can provide a domestic content module. They are getting more aggressive in projects of this size. They had been focusing more on your 10, 100 megawatt, you really, really big projects. They're just kind of getting into this scale of projects more. And I think that's kind of the reason it was more attractive. So of course, you know, if you go back to the spreadsheet, significant upfront adder, 421,000, but on the back end, you get that extra 10%. The other thing that kind of prompted this investigation, we had quite a bit of back and forth with the USDA on Build America, Buy America. We got one answer that we did have to comply, one that we didn't, that we did. The last response we got from them is, we think you are exempt. For the record, no one that has got REAP grant funding has ever had to comply, which I think, I kind of read that as they were saying, don't worry about it, but we're not going to tell you for sure. Don't worry about it. So I think we'd be okay there, but that was another thing that kind of prompted this discussion is, hey, do we need to, to be Build America, Buy America compliant, do we need American manufactured panel? So technically, financially, what I presented here is, honestly, it's best case, but I did best case for both for the sake of comparison.
Travis, let me ask you a question. Will the change administration, hearing a lot of words about tariffs, is, are we looking at now if we buy these later, is it one where all of a sudden the foreign option is going to be slapped with some sort of tariff? Are we going to be any way exempt from that tariff in terms of purchasing it, or do you have any thoughts on any of that, or is that even entered into the calculation at all?
And just in regard to that, I did a tax webinar earlier, and they said if the tariffs come, it's got to be sitting on the dock. If it's just been ordered and en route, the tariffs will apply if they're levied.
Okay. Yeah.
But if it's not on the dock when the tariffs go on, the tariffs will apply to the item.
Can you clarify that? So if you've ordered it and it's being shipped,
it won't count. The tariff will apply when it hits. It's to be exempt. It's got to be on the dock.
Yeah, let's talk into this a little bit if you don't mind.
Sure. Yep.
I think the timing is key. My understanding is Solar Energy Solutions wanted to get this locked in before the end of the year because there's a price change coming,
Right.
so that it would have already been shipped potentially. They may even have this stuff warehoused. The scale.
When they claim with the tariffs, that thing they were talking about, there is potentially a lot of hoarding going on.
Yeah.
And the people renting a lot of space, trying to get products in before it hits, and then.
Well, and they were talking about this 6 months ago before.
Right.
Yeah.
So there were some other tariffs that were lapsing or something else coming up, even under the Biden administration, that they were trying to get in before the end of the year. And that's why they were saying we need to sign and move forward. So, and then also to your question, I've done a number of these, 200 of these USDA solar projects, and not once has Buy America ever come up, and not once has a client called me afterwards and gone, what did you, this didn't work. So, and I've done a lot with Solar Energy Solutions as the vendor for the client. So this has never come up before. So we don't know what's going to happen other than let's talk timeline on this. If we order the panels for the end of the year, like I think we signed this today, we order them. When are we trying to break ground? Spring? Or
Yeah,
sooner?
I mean, it's gonna be weather dependent, but yeah, that would be the ideal case, you know, as early as we can in the spring, and then, you know, be testing and online late fall, early winter of next year, yeah.
Oh, okay. Is it going to take that long?
Let's see what they propose here. Yeah, so, October, November
Of next
is
year?
when they expect to do commissioning, system startup, training, turnover.
I mean,
What's your thinking, Jason?
my only concern is the new administration, between the farm bill that they're trying to pass right now, the 5-year farm bill, which the USDA REAP program is under, and then any rollbacks in the Infrastructure Act, which is 50% was tied to, that may leave some re-questioning of rules and interpretations and stuff. My understanding is, once we sign the paperwork, everything spelled out in that paperwork is what we're agreeing to receive the money. I would just hate to get to October and then someone new going, whoa, hold on.
Yeah.
We don't like how you did this, or we think you should have done it this way. I personally, if all things were being equal, I like the base proposal approach. I think it's simpler. We've already got the ducks in a row. We can move forward fast. If we end up getting this phase 2, we maybe could look at that point at the second approach. So we can explore both routes. We can be I mean, what we've always talked about with this is being an education to the community, an education to the larger region. If we did the base proposal, which we're already set up to do, and then we do these, if we do end up in the phase 2, we could do the other approach and just be able to tell people, well, this is our experience with this is our experience with that. I also really don't know, since some of these tax credits are all tied up in the Infrastructure Act, if that does get clawed back or changed or ratified under new
And
administration.
that was part of the discussion on the webinar I was on.
Right.
And they were totally blank on it. They said, there's a lot to roll back there, there's a lot of tax incentives, but a lot of businesses have made business plans and commitments.
Based on those taxes.
Yeah, and they don't want them rolled back. I mean.
Exactly. It just depends on how business friendly or oriented the administration is. But my understanding, the sunset's still about 5 years on these tax credits. So if they didn't do anything, they just let it roll, then it could just be what we're doing. So we are really geared up to do this first one. And then if I'm reading your numbers right, and basically at the very bottom line is the base proposal ends up generating more power over the lifetime of the system.
Right.
And yes, the payback's a little longer, but that's just the payback.
Right.
Year after year after year, it'll continue to make money above the other one. It's just what you're not getting is that base savings.
Well, both paybacks are within 4 years anyway, so
Yeah.
I mean, you know.
Yeah, it's a great, it's a phenomenal
it's a good
payback.
turnaround, so.
And then that's, of course, with our wholesale rate at its current rate.
Yeah,
If that goes
right.
up, then that
Right.
accelerates.
Right.
So I would suggest a system that makes more energy and that's simpler, and it's a simpler story, and then also I get a little queasy getting tied to one solar vendor, because if they're suddenly like, oh, sorry guys, we got slammed by the end of the year, we're 6 months behind, sorry, your project's delayed, versus Solar Energy Solutions, I think, could pivot and find another 540 watt bifacial panel from another supplier that would be equivalent. It concerns me to tie our eggs to one basket, especially if everyone is thinking Buy America and this is the only solar company who can do
Who's
it.
ready to deliver, yeah.
It might create a huge bottleneck. So I think we're in a pretty good position to get the base
So your
proposal.
recommendation is to go with base?
That's my thinking.
Yeah.
And it's getting recorded, so maybe in a few months I'll be following Steve's example over here. But
Well, I am following you, so.
yeah, I just from everything, Travis, that you set up, I think with this first grant, just lock it in, move fast. The key is move fast at this point. I kind of thought I remember Solar Energy Solutions saying that once we got rolling, it'd be about a 3-month install. I'd almost like to circle back and confirm that, because, man, if we could have this thing installed by March or April, that would be ideal. Now, my understanding is they have to bore holes 6 feet, they pound steel like 6 feet down, so that's hard to do in the winter, but who knows how light of a winter we're gonna have, they might be looking for work.
Let me ask this, Travis, say we go with the base.
Right.
We order them and say, things are great, they put them on a ship, they get them here. Do we have someplace, who would be responsible to store them?
They are.
Like if Solar Energy Solutions can't get around to start like in
Solutions,
April, and we got them here in January,
All right.
how much storage, where could we put them? Well, there's Gary's house, but I mean.
Gary's house would be
And Travis,
good.
that's your house, your
Yours-
backyard.
Yeah, my yard. No, that's a good question. We'd be looking for space because it's a significant amount of space it would take up. It's when constructed, it's going to be 3, 4, 5 acres. So, yeah, it's kind of a turnkey project. My default answer would be, we'd ask the vendor to manage that.
But he's gonna come back and say, I want the money.
Well, his price would change, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
But we could do freight, we could do some type of containers out on the site, right, locked and under
yeah,
security.
I think, most of those modules are made to be outside, so
Anyway.
I don't know that they couldn't be stored outside. I mean, tell me if I'm wrong there.
They're gonna be outside.
Would
when
it
the
just
kids put up,
include,
so-
like,
Yeah.
as far as security and fencing, we would get going on that sooner than later if we're gonna store stuff?
And that becomes Jared Rambo's problem, right?
Yeah.
Right, yeah. Yeah, most of that stuff can be turned up pretty
Yeah.
quickly.
Okay.
The fencing and, cameras, whatever, lighting, whatever you need to do there.
Well, if,
Yep.
if the board is agreeing, and once again, I'm gonna let you tell us which proposal you think we should go with, but I guess I'm leaning to the base proposal. But if everybody's agreeing and we can vote on it, I would
Yep.
just say, we tell Solar Energy Solutions as fast as possible,
Yeah.
full steam ahead, whatever you need. And if they could bend that curve back, they could be just being also very conservative.
Yeah.
on
Yeah, I'd
the
say for the
estimate.
sake of a contract agreement, they're gonna,
Because, and I mean, we've got the other condition too, is for the phase two grant, we have to put down 50% to get eligible once they're ready to potentially award the phase 2 one, which could be as early as this winter, it could be spring. So we've got that as well. So helping move them forward allows us to sort of, we can always put a deposit down on the panels, that's
Right.
no big deal, but I think it's in our interest to move as fast as possible.
Yeah.
Now that we have
Yep.
the money in hand, we have a vendor, as long as the board's good with it, we
Yeah.
just roll fast, so.
So the motion is to approve with the base proposal, is that correct?
I'm gonna ask Travis.
That has kind of been my thinking as well. We're so close to saying go. I don't like big changes. That's kind of my feeling as well. I'm happy with the base proposal. It's something we know better. If we do the second phase, to your point earlier about doing domestic content, I think some of the direct pay rules change as well in 2026. I think if you don't have domestic content, you don't even get the first 30. That's kind of the way I
So
understand it. So,
that's
yeah,
it.
I think if we do a phase 2, we need to think domestic content a little more. For right
Well, by
now,
that time, we'll know if we are fortunate to get the award.
Right.
We'll know what the tariff situation is also.
Yeah, well, and I just want to point out again, that one vendor just really sets my hair on end, because I just
It's a roll
remember
of the dice.
I remember the
It's a roll
LED
of the dice.
battles I've watched the lighting companies go through the last 5 years. It's nuts. Like, okay, now we have LED. 2 months later, now we're completely out. Now so the idea that back in February they didn't even think that was an option, but now it is an option, that opening up the market could close just as fast. So I'm just being conservative. I think going the other route would be good. And plus, Travis is ready to go on that. So.
I'm good with it. Yep.
So,
I think it's fine.
you want me to make a motion, Jason?
You want me? I'll make a motion.
No, John, you make a motion, John's recording you, so.
Okay. I mean, he is the master of ceremonies. Well, I'd like to make a motion that we accept the base proposal from Solar Energy Solution based on Travis's recommendation and Steve's. And that we move forward as rapidly as possible to get this project greenlit, paid for, and in the ground.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Stand behind Jason, I'll say.
There you go.
We have a motion and a second.
Solidarity over here.
Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? It's adopted.
Travis, thank you.
Thank you.
For
Appreciate
all
it.
your work.
Yep.
It's
Thank
been
you.
time.
Next is 5.4. Consider approval of change order number 2 for bid number 1752, fiber to the home construction to Team Fishel. Long time no see, sir.
Yeah, how you doing?
Yeah, doing fine.
So staff recommends approving change order number 2 for bid 1752 due to the increase of quantities related to the addition of the 7 awarded grant areas, as well as increase in individual line item pricing to align with current market rates. The original bid was awarded to Team Fishel July of 22 for the construction of FPB's Fiber to the Home project. Since the beginning of the project, Team Fishel's done a pretty good job. haven't fell behind. For this reason, we believe that rebidding will delay both the overbuild and grant projects with no anticipated project savings. We anticipated a price increase before construction began on the grant areas, and the proposed change order is estimated to increase construction costs around 7%, which is within the window and not exceeding the total construction cost estimate.
Okay, any questions?
Yeah, I'm pretty happy with what,
Yeah.
what they've come
So
back
this
with.
covers, there's two change orders here. The change order 2 we're talking about now covers what exactly?
So basically, this one is construction, so it would be lashing fiber, placing fiber.
And
the second one
is
will
that
be
materials, and then the other one's labor, or?
No, this is just all labor.
All labor, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, placing strand, anchors,
Okay.
things like that.
All right.
Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, if it's in order, I make a motion to approve change order number 2 for bid number 1702, or 1752, to Team Fishel.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Contract's approved. Number 5.5, consider approval of change order number 1 for bid number 1758, fiber to the home splicing to Team Fishel. Mike?
Yep. So this goes back to July of '22 as well. This contract is for just splicing the fiber optics. Team Fishel's not proposing a price increase from there, but we are adding a line item for them to do fiber port testing. Currently, the testing is being performed with a mix of FPB staff and contract labor. So having them perform this, I think it'll increase the speed of the pond activation.
What impact does this have on the cost overall? No change
It's
to the
pretty much a
projected?
wash.
Okay.
I mean, it's pretty much the same money compared, because we've got current staff that's doing it and then contract labor, so this would really just push this all onto them.
Okay. Any questions of Mike? If not, do we have a motion?
Make a motion to approve change order number 1 for bid number 1758.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and a second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Contract's approved.
Thank you.
Next, consider approving Viacom agreement. Harvey?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Staff and the Cable Advisory Committee recommend approval of the Viacom agreement. This amends and extends our original 2014 Viacom agreement, which was also amended back in 2019. This agreement covers a total of 21 networks, 9 on classic cable, including MTV, Nickelodeon, VH1, Comedy Central. 3 of the channels, Smithsonian, CBS Sports, and Pop, we currently carry via direct agreement. And so these would be folded into the NCTC agreement at better terms and administrative savings. It also allows us to migrate Pop from classic cable to our optional preferred cable tier. Cable Advisory Committee made that recommendation, and staff will work on timing for that move. But I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have on this item.
Any cost impact or?
Certainly below budget, and the terms are included in your full package.
Harvey, outside of sports, are some of these numbers for some of these channels cooling off a little bit?
I feel like they have.
I mean, I know sports is running away and with license fees.
It's a
and
main
everything,
driver. I don't have any wood to knock on, but yeah, I mean, it does seem like the increases have slowed.
What's causing that impact? Like the Hulus, the Netflix, the
Yeah,
streaming?
I think they're realizing they've squeezed as much blood out of the turnip that they can get, and maybe they're going to try to ease up for a little while.
Yeah. Any other questions for Harvey? No, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Contract's approved. Next one, item 5.7, consider reappointment of Trey Greenwell and Christine Robertson to the lucrative Cable Advisory Committee.
Thank you, sir. Staff recommends approval of the reappointment of Trey Greenwell and Christine Robertson to their second 3-year terms on the advisory committee through November 30th of 2027. The bylaws specify that members can be reappointed once, so this would be their second terms. They've both been key contributors. Mr. Greenwell is currently serving as the committee's vice chairman. You can see their letters of interest attached, and I'm happy to answer any questions you guys have.
And these people totally serve voluntarily, don't they? I mean, they don't.
Yeah, there's they get some credits on their cable bill, but they're pretty minimal.
Yeah.
And yeah, we very much appreciate their
Well, yeah.
service.
Do we have a motion?
I'll make a motion. We appoint both the individuals.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Greenwell and Ms. Robertson reappoint. Okay. Harvey?
Harvey, I've got a question. It's kind of far afield a little bit, but it's in your area.
Sure.
This past week, Diamond Sports that took over for Bally doing the Reds games on Channel 36 on the classic cable or the standard cable tier. My understanding is the Reds have taken back their rights from them for the upcoming season, and and I don't know if I'm correct or not, but they're going to be working with MLB to somehow market those to cable companies and providers in the area. Have you kind of monitoring that situation?
Yeah. So Diamond Sports, which is owned by Sinclair Broadcasting, has been in bankruptcy proceedings for about 2 years. They, I think, emerged like 2 weeks ago. Part of that settlement, I guess, was the sale, shedding some of that, and they sold or they bought. Actually, the Reds had a stake in that network. Diamond Sports bought it back for $1.
Okay.
So the Reds are now free of that. And then about a week later, the Reds put out a statement that they would be partnering with Major League Baseball to distribute the games this coming season in 2025. I spoke to a representative at Diamond. They seemed to think they might still have a chance. We'll see. Right. I had the same response, but we'll see. We haven't heard from MLB directly yet. We've had a good relationship with MLB. We've carried the MLB network for 12 years. So I anticipate once they have something to tell us, they will. But as I understand it, they'll work with local distributors like ourselves to show those games, basically a part-time channel to show the games. They're also intending to distribute the games over streaming in a direct-to-consumer basis. So that will be an option for customers as well. That has not been the case before. There have been blackouts. Basically you'd have to subscribe to access it. So monitoring it, hope to hear from MLB soon. They may not have finished up their agreement with the Reds yet. So
one of the things that we'll do though is our agreement with that Bally Sports, that channel, that agreement ends in December, is my understanding.
Correct. Yeah, that current agreement that we have with Diamond or Sinclair for Valley expires on December 31st.
And without the Reds,
what's left
channel
is the Columbus Blue Jackets and the Cleveland Cavaliers,
which are not exactly hot topics here in the capital.
That's the impression
city,
I've gotten from folks that I've talked to, that the Reds are the main driver for that.
So it may be a thing where we take any savings we have on the rates from that, and whatever we get back into the other one. So okay, so just keep that in mind as you're that's something that's going to come up here probably before season rolls around.
Yep. So we'll see what they have to say when they come to us, and we'll certainly keep you guys abreast of progress.
Thanks, Harvey. Appreciate it.
This doesn't affect Me TV, does it?
No, nothing affects your reruns of the Andy Griffith Show.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Harvey. Item 5.8, consider approving health plan amendment number 21. Michelle?
Good evening,
How you
Board
doing?
Chair and members of the Board. Frankfurt Plant Board Health Plan Amendment 21 informs plan members about the non-discrimination and accessibility policies of the Frankfurt Plant Board. The amendment states that the organization complies with federal civil rights laws and does not discriminate based on race, color, national origin, age, disability, or sex. The Frankfurt Plant Board ensures reasonable accommodations for individuals with disabilities, including sign language interpreters and alternative formats for written information. It also provides free language assistance for non-English speakers, including interpreters and translated materials. Staff requests the board consider approving Health Amendment Plan 21. A copy of the Amendment 21 is located in the detail pages starting on page 201 to 203.
Anybody have any questions of Michelle? Okay, do we have a motion?
So moved.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Amendment's adopted. Item 5.9, approving changes to job classification. Michelle?
Yes. At July's 2024 board meeting, the board approved to reinstate the customer service director position with the understanding that once filled, the need for both customer service supervisor positions would be reviewed. As part of this process, the customer service supervisor job description was reevaluated and the position has been reclassified from a grade 114 to a grade 113. Staff now requests the board to move forward with filling both customer service supervisor positions as originally approved in the 24-25 fiscal budget. Hiring 2 supervisors rather than 1 is essential to address critical staffing and operational challenges within the FPB's customer service department. Currently, the department, which handles 8,000 to 10,000 customers interactions per month across electric, water, and telecommunication services, operates with just 1 supervisor overseeing 13 employees. This creates challenges given the high volume of customer interactions and the demand of major infrastructure projects, including NextBand, fiber network, AMI enhancements, and the rollout of the new mobile app. Maintaining 2 supervisors will allow for more employee support, improve management of daily tasks, and ensure success of implementing key projects. Prior to the reinstatement of the customer service director, there were 17 approved positions at a cost of $855,000. Staff now proposes a reduction to 16 positions at a revised cost of $844,000, resulting in an overall cost reduction. The cost of the director role was offset by unfilled positions, and the financial impact of this plan is already reflected in the current budget. Staff requests the board to approve the reclassification of the customer service supervisor position to a grade 113 and authorize hiring 2 supervisors as planned. A detailed statement from the current customer service director supporting the retention of 2 customer service supervisors and the updated job description for the customer service supervisor is in the detailed pages starting on page 205 to 210.
Okay. I think we've had this, we've talked about this some before. I don't think there's any question. I mean, April does a great job, but she's been carrying the whole load by herself since Cassie retired last year. And I think the only question, I mean, obviously anything the board wants to bring up, but I think the key question at this point is, and we've talked about some before, is do we want to approve 1 or 2 supervisors at this point? And I know you all have gotten some additional information, in the last few days to look at. We can bring April up here, or if someone has a motion they want to make, we can proceed however y'all want.
I had a good call with April and Michelle today, and we got to hear a lot about it. And I think 2 positions makes perfect sense because it's more importantly, it's about the redundancy. If one person's sick or wants to take a vacation, it just keeps things flowing and sends our customer services, our front end, their face to the community, to start to have curveballs being thrown on that front could start to trip us up pretty fast. So I think 2 makes a lot of sense, especially in these they're brilliant working in the budget where we're actually going to be saving more money. So I think 2 positions makes a lot of sense.
So do you want to make the motion?
Well, I'd like to hear.
Or does anybody else have another motion? I'm not following Robert's rules exactly here.
And I think I'll echo what Jason said, and I do appreciate being able to meet and understand this better. I look at it as eventually it's going to be more budget neutral, but I look at it as let's put more resources, obviously more money now, so that we can utilize this technology that we're bringing on board better and have an opportunity to actually do these projects and implement them, as opposed to, it's like buying a Ferrari but not being able to utilize all the stuff on it yet because you don't have time.
Yeah.
So I am in favor of this.
Okay. Does anybody else have Any other discussion or a different motion or whatever?
I agree. Whenever I buy a Ferrari, that is what I agree. That is my
Catherine's
biggest
gone
problems.
Italian on the discussion. So, you have a motion?
I'm happy to make the motion. Okay.
We have a motion.
I'll second it.
Have a second? Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Motion's approved.
Thank you.
Ms. Brown, as always, fabulous. Thank you. Gary? Any items? Sharpness? Do you want to talk under new business?
There was a service line inventory.
That means you want to talk about the need for any assistance on a contract?
No.
Yeah. Yeah, but she just has a motion on health and help.
Okay. Oh, yeah, that's
Yeah,
right.
just on, with a lot, and we've got some things in closed session, but I know you're kind of at the point that you could use a little technical help. Is that fair to say?
Yeah, I thought we were going to talk about that later. Absolutely, yes.
Yeah.
So as you know, with the previous director of water left over a year ago, we've had a vacancy for a civil engineer for a while now. I've done quite a bit of outreach. We've reached out to all the universities. I've reached out to previous professors at the universities. We've talked to some of the engineering people at the local colleges, or in Kentucky, Western, Louisville, and UK as well. And we just haven't had a lot of success with a lot of feedback with the position. So we do plan on attending some job fairs in the spring. However, in the meantime, I've I sent out a request for qualifications to engineering firms to submit for projects that they, under, like, I think it was like 6 categories, basically water treatment experience, water distribution experience, environmental experience, and so forth, permit requirements. And I've had some engineering firms submit their statements of qualifications. I'm in the process of reviewing that. It's still open window right now. We still have more engineering firms that are going to submit. So once I develop that list of pre-qualified engineers that I can select to do various engineering jobs as they come up. I was going to do it over a 5-year term. Most people do it over 5 years, and then they put it back out there again if additional firms want to be on our pre-qualified list. So once I get that list complete, hopefully here within the next 2 weeks, I'd like to request the board and Gary to approve an on-call services agreement so that I can just kind of get assistance as engineering assistance as needed until we do hire until we do.
Because we've got a couple of projects to bring up here that, Sharmista, at some point, we can't make her keep working on her kitchen table every night and all weekend, so.
I have been doing so.
Yeah. I asked her today, and she asked us, she said, can I just have one more week? I mean, it was just, so.
Of course, we've had this job position that's been unfilled now for a year, so, it's not like the money's not there to, at least to, the work needs to be done, it needs to be done, and we need to find a way to do it, so, does this require a motion, you think, or is this?
Hence, do we need to authorize Gary, depending on what the contract is, may have it under small purchase, but at least give her the go-ahead to proceed with.
I think either way, you can make a motion to just authorize the general manager.
I'll go ahead and make a motion to authorize the general manager and the water director to establish an on-call list of engineers for ad hoc duties, small ad hoc projects, underneath the limit of procurement limit.
Yeah.
40,000.
Yeah.
Is that what you're thinking?
Yes. Yes. Yes.
Did we have a second? We have a second. Any further discussion? If not, all those in favor say aye.
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 Those opposed?
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Mr. Snyder?
So, John, according to outside, it's like 9 o'clock, right?
That's right.
But I think my according to my watch is 6:15.
General manager comments, old new business?
Do we have? You didn't have anything under old or new, Gary? Yeah.
I did have one thing.
Yeah.
Did we want to at some point have a meeting at the new clubhouse?
Oh yeah. Is Kathy Lindsay?
I mean, since it's not in a regular spot, it would have to be a special meeting, but we can have our.
Yes.
And I don't know what difficulties
Yeah, I don't
that
know
makes
what
for
difficulties
staff,
that
and
would be
also
for-
that we
yes.
still broadcast it like we should.
You were looking into at some point, did we want to have a board meeting at the clubhouse? Oh. And you were looking into that?
We are looking into that, we are looking into that, and, we will do it. We're looking at
Okay.
either December or January.
Okay.
Depending on, David's concerns are that we'd wanna do it, we wouldn't have to do any kind of Zoom to make sure that
Right.
everybody could be there.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
Right.
Because the facilities there are a little different. Resources here, everything's here.
yeah.
Right.
At the clubhouse, there would have to be special things done, so we'd wanna make sure that it's a meeting that everybody can be there.
Okay.
And David, anything else I'm forgetting? Sounds good.
Sounds good, okay.
So we're looking at December or January.
Okay.
Okay.
So if that's the case, we'll get notice to the board members.
Right,
And get
yeah.
notice out.
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fine.
Let's get it open and make sure everything
Yeah,
works.
yeah.
Sure,
okay, and,
sure.
Flip the light switches and turn the heat on and, yeah, see?
But we're looking forward to doing that. We think it'll be fun.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, it's in order. I'd like to request permission to call a closed session pursuant to KRS 61-810-1C to discuss proposed litigation regarding a contract matter as well as an administrative merger matter.
That's it for tonight.
Yeah.
Okay,
I can explain the matter.
okay.
Great.
We have a motion, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion and second. All those in favor of going into closed session for the reasons set forth, say aye.
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 Those opposed? We're going into closed session. Come back in 5 minutes. Do we have a motion to come out of special session?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second? We have a motion second. All those in favor of coming out of special session, say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Mr. Snyder?
Mr. Chairman, I would, the only action we took during the closed meeting is we reviewed some potential agreements between the Frankfurt Plant Board and the Farmdale Water District. And we have directed the staff to get with Farmdale, finalize those agreements for action at a special called board meeting. We think next Tuesday, but we're not sure yet. So, but the public will be notified of that special meeting in accordance with the law.
Do we have a motion on that action?
And I make a motion that we take that action.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? Do we have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Do we have a second?
Second.
We have a motion second. All those in favor of adjournment say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed? We're adjourned. Thank you all. See you next week, maybe.
I think you might have a third.